Hi, I'm Tom Santos from General Mills Flour. I'm part of the Doughminator team and have been crafting doughs for over 40 years. 17 of those years of my bakery in Connecticut and the last 23 years with General Mills. I am really excited to introduce a new flour General Mills is launching. The name of the flour is the Prim'Ordine Farina. Translated, that means first class or first quality flour. It's our domestic match to the double zero flours you see in the market. Like the double zero or European type flours, it is totally untreated. No bleach, bromate, malt, or enrichment. It's essentially wheat in a bag. If you've been through a flour training with General Mills, you may recall there's classes of wheat, spring wheat and winter wheat. And I want to give you a quick refresher. The spring wheat would be the all trumps, 14% or higher, high protein flour. All trumps balancer, a lot of stretch to those doughs. A lot of tenacity when the stretch. Think of an elastic band that will stretch pretty far. You would make a New York style pizza or a bagel. Think of that chew of a bagel. You got to do a little work in eating a bagel. You go to a mid-protein spring wheat. Think of full strength or superlative in the West Coast. That still has a nice stretch, but the chew is a little softer. Think of a hard roll. Still chewy, but not quite like a bagel. When you get to the class of winter wheat, that's where the Prim'Ordine Farina falls. You have a decent stretch, a very nice stretch to the dough, but a softer tooth, a softer bite to it, like a softer hard roll. The winter wheat, very easier on the bite and less protein. So you're in the 10 to 12% range. And in the case of the Prim'Ordine Farina, you're in the 11.8 to 12% range. Now, the Prim'Ordine Farina is milled to General Mills type specs. And that's so important. If you've been to a pizza expo or a pizza dough boot camp with myself and Bill Weekly, you know how we talk about tight specs. Tight specs are the key to consistency. And we always say consistency equals quality, and quality is what your customers are looking for. Remember, the same class of wheat, winter wheat, like the Prim'Ordine Farina and double zero, same class of wheat, winter wheat, same protein, 11.8 to 12.1 on both the double zero and the Prim'Ordine Farina, mixed exactly the same will give you a wonderful Neapolitan style pizza. I'd like to give you a couple of selling points when you're out on the road selling this flour. One is the size of the bag and how important that is. The size of the bag is 27.5 pounds, 12.5 kilos. Now, the kilos metric system, European flour comes in kilos versus pounds. In the past, if you wanted to sell against a double zero flour, you would have to sell against a 55-pound bag. 25 kilos is 55 pounds. We only made, General Mills milled either 25 or 50-pound bags. So you would have to have the customer adjust their formula. And coming from myself as an older baker, a lot of people don't want to adjust their formulas. That's why we developed the bag at 27.5 pounds, exactly half the size of the double zero bag. Now, the double zero bag at 55 pounds, a lot heavier to lift up. Two of these equals one. It's easier to pour two bags of 27.5 pounds than it is to pour one bag of 55 pounds. That's a lot heavier to pick up. It's also easier to store. Storage space is always at a premium. Easier on your labor. Your labor, we all talk about the labor problems, and it's a lot easier to pick up a 27.5 pound bag than a 55 pound bag. One thing that a lot of people don't talk about, it's easier on the mixer too. Most of the mixers in pizza operations are 60-quart mixers. 55 pounds of dough, when you add the other ingredients, especially water, creates a pretty large dough that most 60-quart mixers are going to struggle with. This size bag, 27.5 pounds, even after the water, a mixer, you could extend your mixer's life because you're mixing a smaller dough. But if they still want to mix the 55 pounds, they certainly could just use two bags and not change the formula. That's a key point. Second point is cost. Now, Italy grows a lot of wheat, but they can't grow enough to meet the demand of the double zero flour that they export and use domestically. So Italy imports quite a bit of wheat from surrounding countries and Ukraine. After they import it, they mill it and then ship it to the United States. That's a tremendous amount of freight and transportation costs. That's reflected in the price of the 00 flour that we've seen on the street. The Prim'Ordine Farina is grown in the center of the United States. It's grown domestically. Kansas, Nebraska, the breadbasket of the United States, and milled in the Midwest, and then sent all over the country. So our freight costs are significantly less. When you talk about winter wheat versus spring wheat, one other tip that you want to talk about is if a customer is baking a Neapolitan style pizza, they're baking it in a pretty hot oven. You're probably talking 675 to 800, 900 degrees. Spring wheat does not play well in that type of oven. Spring wheat will tend to get a gum line because it's not made to bake that quick. You're talking a 2-3 minute bake, and that higher protein doesn't allow the dough to bake right through. So you get what we call a gum line between where the sauce and the cheese hit the dough. So when you're baking in that hot an oven, you want to use a winter wheat, and the Prim'Ordine Farina would be the choice, my choice to use. It's our new addition to the General Mills brand family. It also completes our flour continuum. So we've had all trumps, the all trumps, the Pillsbury Balancer, the high proteins, right, starting with the spring wheats, right down to the mid proteins of the superlative and the full strength flour, and then a great job in the H&Rs and the lower proteins, and the cake flours and the semolinas. We've had the full line of products. The Prim'Ordine Farina finishes that line. It fills that hole where we haven't been competing well with the 00. It gives you a tool to talk to the customers who make Neapolitan style pizzas and say you have a match both in size, quality, class of flour, and protein level that they could use to make a terrific Neapolitan style pizza and save some money. If you have any questions, please contact your local General Mills account executive. They will have all the information you need. I want to thank you for your time, and I want to thank you for your support of General Mills products.